Hey everybody, Kasabi here with another logo tip making video. Today's lesson is something that I'm actually fairly new to and just learned this year. I've been making logos for a couple of years now, and the mask tool, I'll be able to show you here what it does in a second, but essentially what it does is it makes something transparent that you don't want to be seen. So if you're really having trouble shaping pieces together to make something in your logo, and you want to hide part of it, the mask tool is a good way to do that and just kind of hide the part that you don't want. So right here I've built a basic Chicago Cubs logo. So this one's pretty simple. You start out with a background. The Cubs thing is just a C with the open-endedness, so you get the red circle for the actual C part, you get the white for the outline, you put a white one on the inside. So that's how I made this one, but you can see here, like, I did this triangle to edge out the rest of the C, and then these things just to cover up the last parts that I needed. So if you're making a logo and say you didn't want the background on this, you just wanted the Chicago Cubs C without the blue background, because there are a lot of people who put logos on different colored jerseys. So if you make a solid background color that somebody doesn't want, if you did it this way, it might be hard for somebody to edit it out and make it their own. They'd have to do a little bit more work. So for instance, like if I wanted to put this one on a white cap or something, I'd have to, like, I mean, there are more logos that are more complex than this one, but you know, I'd have to go through, edit all the shapes out, and change all the colors. But the other thing you can do, let me just delete everything here. So if I want to do one without a background, so let me get started here. First I'm going to find Chicago red. The other thing you can do with the mask layer is it can be any color you want, but just to do some contrast and see where I'm actually going here. So if I want to get rid of this part of the C, the mask can be any color you want, but if you mask this thing, you know, let me show you how to get to that again. So you just hit X, go to more options, and mask previous layer or group. And you can see there, like, even though the triangle is white or whatever color you want to do it, basically makes it invisible. And I just made a Pac-Man shape here, and I can move it around, mask any part of that I want. So again, like, if there's a part that you want to hide, you can just use this tool to eliminate that part. Now, the tricky thing about this that I've noticed is it only works for that layer. So whatever layer that you're trying to mask, this next shape has to be directly on top of it. But so let me do this here. If I also mask this one, and there's the Cubs C that I just did, minus the outline from like a second ago, without the background or anything. So this is a much easier way of, you know, you could do the guesswork, like you could get all of these shapes here and try and piece together a C out of those, or use one of the C's for like one of the fonts. But the mask tool is good for just taking out bits and pieces of something that you don't want. And as I mentioned earlier, like, if you mask the layer, it has to be directly on top of that. You can do as many masks as you want. The masks won't, you know, mask the other mask layer. It's a bit of a mouthful, but I hope you understand what I mean here. So, but yeah, just let me see if I can do something a little bit more complex here than just the Cubs C. So here's this Dayton Dragons logo I just did. So say I wanted to group that together and take off the tail. So I wanted to, like, hide this part of it. There you go. So you could use the mask. You can group all this stuff up together and then mask that part of it to, like, take out a chunk of even a more complex logo like this. When you are making logos, though, I would advise caution. So if I were to have that mask down the line, so you can see, like, if I group it together, the mask might screw up or something. So I'd do those at the very end, because right now I'm masking this shape right here, and you can see like I'm going to different parts. So be careful when you are doing the masks. Sometimes you can accidentally, if you do it like me and you try and organize stuff into groups, you know, certain chunks of the logo into different organized chunks that you can go back later and edit out later. These masks might get screwed up, so that's why I advise doing it at the end, because you can, like I said, you can see here I'm doing one shape at a time, but if I were to group everything together at once, oops, and then put that at the end, then I have the whole tail from all these shapes in the group as opposed to just the one at a time. So those are just some of the practical uses that I've done the mask logo for. I'm sure there's more out there that you can do with this, but like I said, I have not done the mask in years past. I'm actually just starting to get used to it myself, but those are just a couple of ways that I've been utilizing it so far. Every person's different, so I just try and piece shapes together and you know, just do it shape by shape, but sometimes you just need something that's a bit more crisp or a bit more better looking, so this mask will be able to help out with that. So that'll pretty much do it for this episode of the masking tutorial, and I'll be doing more logo editing tips going forward in the near future. If you have something that you want to request, or you know, having a tough time with, some trouble with, be sure to leave a comment on this video, and maybe that'll be the next one that I do. That'll do it for now, so I'll see you guys next time with the next logo editing tip video.